Okay, so now I'm gonna do the base colors and teach you how to use the bucket tool. So first, obviously, you have to make a new layer and make sure that it's underneath the line art layer. That is very importante. And make sure you are on that layer when you start doing it, because I've had experiences where I wasn't on the right layer and it sucks. Okay, so press the bucket tool and then you have to go turn on gap recognition. And then on the bottom of that menu, it says specific layer, and you have to make sure it's on the top layer, which is the line art layer. Then you choose the color, and I had a color pre-made for Hester. It's slightly lighter than black, but not by much, so you can still see the line art through it, but it still looks like black when you're far away. So then you basically just tap, and it saves you a ton of times. You don't have to make sure you're staying in the lines, and you don't have to color everything. You just fill it in. Of course, there's still mishaps and stuff where you accidentally fill in the wrong thing, but that can be easily fixed compared to accidentally coloring outside the lines. Definitely see how much time this can save. See, things like that sometimes happen, but it's not that difficult to erase compared to the whole thing. So this tool's definitely a time saver, but if you prefer to color it and erase a lot more, I'm sure you can do that, because the bucket tool can be a bit iffy and frustrating at times as well, as it is here. Then I realized that there was no escaping erasing that again. Okay, and for this is very important. Make sure that you put all the different pieces on different layers, because you're gonna have to clip them later, and it's kind of difficult. And it's kind of difficult to shade different parts if you're trying not to blur the wrong parts together. So make sure you do that. And so here I'm just fixing up the little mess ups and stuff, because that's also inevitable, because there's always little pieces that don't get filled in, especially when there's little gaps and stuff. So that's the reason recognition, but it doesn't work for the whole thing. And then I changed the color, I think. Wait, no, I'm still fixing things. And it's the colors you're gonna use a bunch of times, it's easy to save, it's easier to save them and then go back to them later. Or you can use the eyedropper tool, but if it's a character you're gonna draw a lot, or a person or a dragon or a person you're gonna draw a lot, then I would just save it, since these are all my custom colors at the bottom. See, then I was filling the eyebrows. So I did the hair and the eyebrows on one layer. Mistakenly trying to do that. Well, let's just wait for me. In this video, child, what are you doing? Anyways, I accidentally colored that in, but that's fine, because I'm just gonna do it in another layer on top of it anyways. So whatever. So see, look, I made another layer to do the next part, so I won't accidentally clip it to the whole thing, because I've done that so many times and it's so annoying, because you accidentally blur two things together you don't mean to blur together, and I hate it. So make sure you make different layers for different things. So I'm doing a maroon. I really like drawing people in suits for some reason, don't ask. This is a lot easier since there's not as many little pieces, so this was very easy to fill in. And then, but sometimes it does this thing where it fills in the lines with the color, And make sure to undo that and then just color it in, because those pieces, no matter how hard you try, they're not going to work. Okay. Oh, then I started trying to fix a mistake for like 5 minutes of footage that I cut out. Here we go. I already had a pre-made color for her skin too. This is on a different layer. I didn't show myself making another layer, but this is a different layer too. Yeah, and sometimes with small spaces, you got to go further in order to do it. And of course, there's always little touch-ups that you have to do, like as in here. I had to color over it. Eventually, I had to color over it with the brown in order to get it to work. And then here's the other thing. See, look, I have a teeny little space. And even though there's gap recognition, when there's a space that's a certain amount, like too big, it stops them working. So you got to make sure to go back to the line art layer and fill that in. Oh, wrong color. Okay, and then so here it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I am putting the white, filling in the teeth and the whites of the eyes white. So, because if you do like a background at the end, then it's gonna show through and it's gonna look super weird. So, always make sure that you color in the white parts with white if you're gonna do a background. If you're not, it's probably fine. And then I did the eyes in like a grayish color that also looks black when it's far away. So, yeah. And then I did another layer, I think. Yep. For the last part of the clothes. Oh, forgot to do part of her shirt. Forgot about that part. Yeah, and then when you're done, oh, I forgot to say this part. So when you're, this next part is pretty much the same thing, but when you're done with the background layer, like when you're done with the drawing layer, like there's like a little eyeball next to each layer, and you hide the layer. Like don't delete the layer because you might need it again later if you forgot to do something. So just hide it and don't delete it. Okay, so here I'm gonna fill in the rest of her shirt and like the shirt buttons and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, but all in all, the bucket tool is a great time saver for sure. It has its own issues, but there's always you're always gonna have to do touch-ups on everything. Um, yeah, and hopefully this was pretty convenient for you. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about shading next on here and how you clip layers so you don't accidentally color on the wrong thing.